Voter registration. This is Dr. Brenda Williams knocking on the door. You got to register to vote.
The right to vote means that our communities are able to participate in the democracy that our country had a promise of.
COVID-19 has decimated our ability to have face-to-face interactions safely.
Understand that you have the option to vote from home with your family.
A lot of people are not able to vote by mail or not willing to vote by mail. Focusing on in-person voting with enough equipment, with enough PPE gear, and enough staffing to make sure that anyone who does choose to cast a vote in person doesn't have to choose between their health and making their voice heard of these elections.
I think election officials are doing a good job for the most part, but there always is more that can be done, especially during the pandemic, and making sure that people have the information that they need in order to vote safely.
Poll workers need to understand that their job is to get everybody through the door, to get them to participate, answer questions they may have. And I think it's vitally important to make sure our communities are well represented as poll workers as well.
Make sure it's safe, make sure it's accessible, make sure folks are aware of the process and how they can get involved.
Those who have been historically disenfranchised, the poor, the elderly, the disabled, people of color, African Americans, Latino Americans.
As a Native person, we need more representation for our people and also for our interests.
What's the tool we're using to cause a change? You see protesting is one of it, but protesting can't be the only one. Voting is also a major tool in holding those folks accountable and establishing power and dominance and making sure our communities change for better.
We should just be able to vote, and it is a mockery that we are unable to exercise it because there are all of these barriers, not enough voting centers, misinformation, voter guides that are complicated to read. All of that needs to be made accessible to our communities.
It's really important that election officials, while reacting to the pandemic, doing the best that they can to have democracy and our elections run smoothly in November, really pay attention to the disparate impact that some of those decisions make on the folks that are most vulnerable in our communities.
Don't let anyone stop you from voting and exercising your right to vote.